Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be showing you how to make a bodycon ready to wear skirt. So the first thing you're going to do is to fold the skirt and ensure it's on the stretchy side that you're going to be applying the waist and hip measurement. You can see I marked ½ inch allowance for the joining allowance for the band. So we're going to be using 2 inches for the band, and from that 2 inches I'm marking the waist to the hips, which is 10 inches. After marking this, I'm going to draw a straight line to join the points I marked. I'm ensuring that I'm drawing the line properly. So you can see from the waist to the hips is 10 inches. So I'm going to be applying the measurements, but before that, I'm going to subtract 3 inches from the original hip measurement before I divide it by 4. And from what I got 9.75. So I'm going to be applying 9.75. The essence of subtracting this is so that it will be fitted, since it's a stretchy fabric. So I'm going to be subtracting 1 inch from the hip measurement on the waist. I'm going to be subtracting 1 inch, and that is 8.75. This is because you want it to be able to fit anyone who wears it. So you'll have to give it a standard size. The next thing I'm going to do now is to measure from the waist to the knee. And I'm going to be using 24 inches. So I'm going to mark 24 inches. And after marking 24 inches, I'm going to use a straight line to join the points I marked. Ensure you pin your material, because materials like this are stretchy, and if you are not careful you may not cut it properly. So always pin your materials, especially the stretchy ones. You can see I'm pinning it so that it will be even. So we are going to be joining the waist to the hips. So I'm going to be using the curvy side of the pattern master. As you can see, I'm joining it now. So we're going to be moving to the knee. I'm going to be subtracting 1.25. You can use 1.5 or even 2 inches, but I'm using what is for standard, what anybody else can use. So I'm subtracting 1.25 from the hip measurement, and I'll apply it on the knee. This is the waist to knee measurement. So I'm applying the hip measurement minus 1.25. So I'm going to make the hip line curvier, because we are curvy on our hips. So I'm making the line there curvier. I'm going to be applying the same measurement that is on the knee. I'm going to be applying that at the full length of the skirt. This is to give it a pencil skirt look. So I'm going to be drawing a straight line, and then I'm going to be curving out that knee area. So you can see the 2 inches out for the band, and then the waist to the hip, which is 10 inches. So I'm going to be adding the allowances right now. I'm going to be using 1.5 for the allowances. So I'm applying 1.5 to the waist, and I'll draw the line to, I'm going to join the lines now to the hips. I'm going to move to the knee area and apply 1.5 inches for the allowance as well. I'm going to join the lines. So I'm going to apply this to the length of the skirt as well, the hem area. Remember this is a stretchy fabric, so you can even use 1/2 inch for the allowance. It depends on how you want your ready to wear bodycon skirt to look, but it's advisable to use between 1.5 to 0.75 because you're going to be serging it after. So I'm going to be cutting this out. So you can see I'm pinning this in place to avoid it from shifting. So I'm done cutting it out. I'm going to place this on a folded fabric and cut exactly the same for the back. So you can see I folded another piece of fabric. So I'm placing the front piece on this and I'm going to trace it out. I'm going to cut exactly the same because for this skirt there is no slit and there is no dart. So we're going to be cutting exactly the same thing for the front and for the back. So I'm cutting this out now. You have to be careful when you're cutting stretchy fabric so that it doesn't shift. So after cutting this out, you take out the front, and remember we're not putting any darts. So this is a way of removing excess from the front or from the front piece of your skirt. So we're going to be taking 1 inch down from the waist measurement, and then this is going to be removed from the center front of the skirt. So we're going to be joining this to the side of the skirt, to the side of the front piece rather. This is to remove excess on the skirt, and in a way it acts like a dart. Since we're not taking the not usual darts we are supposed to take on the skirt, this helps. So after marking the 1 inch, we're going to cut it out. So after cutting this out, we're going to place the front piece on the back piece, and we're going to you have to take your time to pin this because once you remove it, it's going to be stretchy and it may not be in order. So you have to take your time, arrange the front piece and arrange the back piece, ensure the sides are in order, and then you pin. You can see I'm trying to arrange it properly. I'm pinning the other side now. I'm using pin to pin the other side now. Pin the waist first, then you move to the hip area, and then you move towards the knee, and then to the hem area. That is the full length of the skirt. Then after pinning this, you go and sew the sides, remembering to take out the allowances you put in. So if you put in 1 inch allowance, you remember to sew out the 1 inch allowance. So I used 1.5 and I've sewn out the 1.5 inch allowance. So now it's remaining the waist and the hemline. So I'm going to fold the hemline of the skirt. So you can see I folded it now. So now it's remaining only the waist. I'm going to measure the waist, and I got 17.5. So I'm going to cut out a strip of fabric measuring 17.5 by 5 inches. It's 5 inches because we are going to be using 2 inches as the band. So we're going to be measuring 5 inches. I remember 2.5 plus 2.5 makes 5. So the half is for the joining allowance. So I'm measuring the 17.5 and I'm going to mark it. Then I will join the line and sew. You can see I've sewn it now. So you can see I've sewn it. So I'm going to move on to the elastic band. I'm going to measure the waist measurement minus 3 inches because it's an elastic band. It stretches. So you have to subtract from your waist measurement. Then you're going to add half an inch for the joining allowance. So I'm going to be joining this now. You can see I've joined the elastic. So the band, I'm going to fix the elastic into the band and I'm going to join the sides of the band, and I'm going to use pins to do this because this, if you are not careful, you might make a mistake. This is very tricky, so use pins to pin them together. After making a casing for the elastic, you're going to sew your band, the band of the skirt to the waist of the skirt. And this is how it looks after I sewed the band to the waist of the skirt. Please ensure you use steam while ironing. It gives a very nice look to your clothes. Then the rough edges, go and serge it. It's very important you serge it so that it will have the ready to wear look. So you go and serge the rough edges. So ensure you steam your clothes. It gives a very professional look, and you see how it's already looking like a ready to wear skirt. All that is left now is just to serge it, and I will do that. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.